I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, June the 20th, brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards. About 5,000 head expected for the regular Monday feeder cattle auction here today on Monday. Be starting early to get most of that done before it gets hot. Going to have a big pre-vac value-added special this Thursday and be a lot bigger run than that, closer to 10,000 head. That sale is going to be on this Thursday, the 23rd. All the cattle will be weaned. 90% of the calves or more will be weaned for 60 days or longer. So a lot of them, fancy calves, have been weaned and turned back out. Basically foolproof, guys, if you're looking for some cattle like that. A week from today on Monday, going to have a yearling special in conjunction with the regular Monday feeder cattle auction. And then don't forget about July the 7th, got the primetime livestock Big Bang video where they're expecting a big offering of cattle there. More than 30,000, maybe as many as 40,000 on that video that they'll have out at Quapaw, Oklahoma, right across the line at Downstream Casino. So hope to see y'all there. Can't stop cash. Boy, the fat cattle market just spiked. Last week, we had seen the previous week that these packers were short bought and the cattle weren't out there like the cattle on feed reports have been telling us that they were going to be. And these packers kind of got caught very short bought, especially for the top grading kind of cattle. It's hard to find those, and just going all over looking at cattle whenever they didn't even have any cattle on the show list. They were sold out and still pulling in the yard looking for cattle, buying cattle that weren't even scheduled for the show list for as much as 30 days out. So extremely green up in the northern plains and in the Midwest, and extremely current in the southern plains too. But a big disparity in your prices between the southern plains and the northern plains. We saw a $14 price spread on your fat cattle market, direct fed cattle posted prices. $14 spread. I mean, we rarely ever get a $3 or $4 spread on a live basis there, but range from 136 all the way to 150. Now, either, whichever end of that, I'm thinking something's curious there. If I'm on the top of that, maybe I'm getting too much, and if I'm on the bottom, maybe I'm getting a short end of the stick somewhere. But that the bottom part of that spread's being paid in the southern plains. Top part of that's being paid in the northern plains. Can't tell me it's not because they negotiately sell more cattle in the northern plains. Those guys have leverage in the trade. They know how to trade. They trade a whole lot more of their cattle in a negotiated basis, and that's how they're able to bargain for a better price. The guys in the southern plains, they're lucky to get a gain a dollar anytime because there's just so few of them that trade in a negotiated manner. And everybody's selling on a sweetheart deal or a formula deal and just scheduling the cattle in. But $14 price spread, I would think that I would want to try to fix that somewhere. Another Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act would fix that. It would mandate minimum requirements of negotiated trade by your big packing facilities, and that would basically save the industry and stop it from going by the way of the chickens and the hogs, guys. Got to get behind that. Going to be votes coming up either this week or next, or both the House and the Senate. Going to be pulling that up. You're going to hear a lot of news about that. But we had to avoid conspiracy theories from threatening our industry this last week. As you guys all know by now, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, that unusual weather pattern where the temperatures stayed extremely high in some small areas in southwest Kansas, didn't get a reprieve overnight, and then had humidity and extremely uncharacteristically no wind and no breeze at all. Lost a lot of cattle in that. Some feedlots lost as many or more than 1,000 head. Several feedlots in southwest Kansas lose 200 to 300 head. Never did hear of a final tally on how many there were, but we're figuring somewhere around 25,000 head of cattle, which would be beyond what it's looking like. Could be as many as 30, could be more, we don't know, which is a lot of cattle, especially when you video them and then you send the video to people that don't know anything about cattle or about how they're fed, and then they'll take and this social media, put a TikTok out, and the TikTok that I saw literally said this rancher lost hundreds and hundreds of cattle, and he has doesn't have any reason why, doesn't know why it happened. They knew exactly why it happened. You know, that they got a temperature read at the lot level there when they saw this happening, and the temperature in those lots was close to 150 degrees, just with that weird combination of humidity, no breeze, temperatures, and then the wet or muddy yards there was causing it to be, like a sauna in there, and the cattle couldn't take it. And so, they knew exactly what the deal was on that, but they were trying to tie that in, which there has been kind of a conspiracy going. We've been talking about all these food manufacturing plants catching on fire or getting destroyed one way or the other. And so they was trying to tie that in there. This had nothing to do with that. Everybody in the business knew that. Then we finally got stud horse Steve Stratford on Tucker Carlson on Thursday night. He not only stamped that out, but then turned the conversation into something that he wanted to talk about worse, which is truth in labeling, and how we're your producer, the percentage of the retail price of the beef is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and just did an excellent job. And we talked about that late last week. Let's talk about your board for last week. June live cattle futures. Monday, if you remember, Monday started down, which it frustrated me because we had found out late the previous week how short bought these packers were and how green our show lists were. So we were expecting the board to open up big, but grains were up big, and that always causes things, especially on Wednesday, to go to mess up our trade. But June live cattle futures started out this past Monday down $2.20. Tuesday was up $1.20. Wednesday up $2.35. Thursday up 20 cents, and Friday even up 27. So there wasn't profit taken on Friday. So that left June live cattle futures ending the week at 138.02. That was up $1.82 for the week. You look out to February is closed over 150 and a half. That's the only thing that gets anywhere close to 150. We posted 150 direct fed cattle sales this past week, and we've got to go all the way to February that shows any kind of a price similar to that. We're looking at the board here late in the month, in the spot month, is going to be $5 to $6 discount to what our cash price is, and we've got to figure out some way to get those to tie in better. But you don't get much complaints from your hedged feeders because it helps them kind of come out on the deal, but it does keep our market under wraps, guys. August live cattle futures ended the week at 136.57, up 37 cents. Feeder cattle futures August contract Monday was down big, down 3.15. Tuesday down another 2 cents, and then turned around. Wednesday was up $1.97. Then Thursday they took that $1.97 back away. Meanwhile, on Thursday they're selling feeder cattle in the auctions in competitive bidding, negotiated trade, higher than we've seen in years and years and years. That 150 and the 180 that they were getting for 8-weight steers in Pratt, Kansas on Thursday, those are some of the highest prices we've seen since the rally back in 2014, and those prices coming off of that. in subsequent years right after that. But we haven't seen anything like that for 10 years or more. And your August feeder cattle are down $1.97. Wow. But feeder cattle futures on for August on Friday were up 165. So that helped a little bit, and August ended the week at 172.95, down $1.52. September ended down $1.25 at 174.80, and people scrambling to buy feeder cattle all over the place, and your futures market is lower. But that's for the August contract, so you have to. We're in a bastard month, and the next month is a bastard month too, because your feeder cattle futures trade when they're moving. So we're not seeing a lot move. We will see some move in July, late July, but they'll be tied to that August contract. Look at your grains. Corn ended the week 784.5, up 11.25 cents a bushel. Beans ended the week 1702, down 43.5. Kansas City hard red winter wheat ended at 11.05 a bushel, down 57.5 cents. Talk about your fat cattle trade up through Thursday. Pretty robust trade there. 90,400 head of negotiated sales. Again, negotiated sales. The market's higher. We trade more cattle when the market's higher, and the market's higher when we trade more cattle negotiated. That's why I always push for negotiated sales, guys. But 90,400 compared to just under 61,000 the same period the previous week, and 65,300 the same time week before. But that was just up through Thursday's trade there. And up through Thursday, we saw live prices, direct fed cattle in your 5-area feeding region from 136 to 150, like I mentioned. It's $1 to $5 higher than the previous week. Your weighted average on live steers through Wednesday was 143.73. It's not going to change much from that when we get all of our sales in here the next time we visit. But that was up $3.21. So gain $3.21 on your weighted average live steers. Dress sales $1 to $6 higher, from 223 to 236, and your weighted average on dress steers up 370 at 229.73 up through Thursday. Had a little bit of trade on Friday, less than 100 in Colorado, just 2,100 head for the week. They don't sell hardly anything there, but 145 is the only price I saw in Colorado last week. Iowa about 100 head, 31,600 head for the week. Live negotiated sale on Friday of just 140 in Iowa, and that was probably just one little cleanup deal or two. Nebraska 200 head on Friday, confirmed at 230 dressed, traded 37,500 for the week. Kansas 700 head confirmed, just under 14,000 for the week. Live sales in Kansas on Friday confirmed from 138 to 141. That's pretty much your spread. We actually didn't see the 141 until Friday, but there was quite a bit of 140. Texas 200 head confirmed, 6,500 for the week, 138 to 140. Box beef cutout values have been cheaper, and I just, it has to be inflation. People just have less money to spend, and they're buying cheaper products, and they're buying competing proteins, because they can't afford the ribeyes that they want, the meat cuts. They're buying cheaper stuff, and it's causing their box beef cutouts to get cheaper. Your weighted average on last week's sales, all of last week's sales on choice, 268.32. That was down 271 on the weighted average compared to the weighted average the previous week. Late sales on choice cuts on Friday afternoon were a couple bucks under what your weighted average was, so they're going down even more. Weighted average on all of last week's select sales, select cutouts, 246.38. That was down 334 compared to the previous week's weighted average. And your late sales on Friday were just about what your weighted average was, so very close to that. Choice select spread now up almost $22 there on your weighted average of all of last week's sales. Talk about some feeder cattle markets. Last week we had the Corn Belt Classic, which is your first big summer video. Superior Livestock had that. It was on Wednesday and Thursday. They had it there in South Sioux City, Iowa. But some stick out deals, and the first sales that we've heard reported of cattle come out of the Flint Hills there in Kansas. So we know that's a big grazing area. We know we've got cattle double stocked out there. We know they're going to be in high demand whenever they come off, and we know most of them will come off the latter part of July. You know, we're rocking through this summer already, guys. Here in less than a month, we'll be shipping cattle out of the Flint Hills already. They only have 90 days out there, and they'll gain their heads off when they're out there. They're easy to sell, and everybody wants them. Skull Creek Cattle Company sold 348 head of basically commodity steers. Pretty good kind, but basically commodity steers. No bells and whistles on them or anything like that. To weigh 900 pounds the middle of July, and they come out of the Flint Hills region there. $1.69. So that's kind of a place to start. We normally kind of base them off an 800 pounder, but this year I think a lot of the cattle that come out of those Flint Hills are going to be heavier than normal. They put them out heavier because we knew the feed costs were high. So you know, we can base a 900 pound sale there at around 170, and we wouldn't be out of the realm. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bring more than that. The closer we get, we always think it sounds too good, and then when we get there, it's even better. But you know, I sure wouldn't price any 9 weights under 170. I wouldn't price any 8 weights under 180 right now, guys, because you know, they really want them. Got a tall grass video from Superior coming up on Wednesday out of Emporia, Kansas. That's usually not a real big one, but the big one week in the Rockies will be July the 11th through 15th, and that would be current delivery sales if anybody holds cattle until then to come out of the Flint Hills. Talk about your real-time index on DV Auction. Ended the week at 162.84. That was up $1.48 for the week. So we expect your Monday sales to be strong again here, as we'll have some big Monday sales. But your cash feeders in your sales last week gained $2 to $6. You know, on your cash on feeder cattle going right into the feedlot. Calves were very uneven, lightly tested in most areas. If you want to get a lot of calves, you're going to have to order them from a background or somewhere, either Central Texas or through the Southeast. They were even very uneven there too. They were a bit higher in some places, quite a bit lower in others, but just not a lot of light calves moving right now. Look at some individual quotes around the circuit there late last week. Fort Scott Livestock, Fort Scott, Kansas on Saturday sold 58 head of 935 pound steers through the ring there at $160. Lanesboro Sales Commission, Lanesboro, Minnesota there sold Holstein steers. 52 head of Holstein steers weighed 852 at 153.5. Now, a lot of people are doing good to sell their best colored cattle like that, but to sell dairies that way, that's pretty darn good. But the best quote that I saw anywhere late last week, your National Beef Wire top quote for the day, come out of Creston, Iowa, Creston Livestock there on Friday, 58 head, 701 pound steers, bring 177.25. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.